Hi again, everyone. This is Nintendo Treehouse Live, Nintendo Switch 2. For those just joining in, my name is Teresa. I'm joined here by Dutch and Sam, and we're here to show a really exciting experience that is called Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So I'm going to punt it off to Dutch so he can kind of walk us through what's going on so far.
All right, let's hop into it. I'll take a look here. So we can see we're just kind of dropped in here on this enormous Joy-Con 2.
And you just picked your avatar, so
I did,
we're
yeah. So I
just
got
dropping
my
in.
avatar here. And I actually can't tell. I haven't decided if like I'm tiny or if the system
Right.
is huge. I don't know. I can't really tell. So we can kind of walk around on the surface and see these signboards. It's set up kind of like almost like a tech expo or something. We got all these friendly people here ready to tell us all about the new hardware. Give us all this information. All the parts are labeled with these little signboards, so we can kind of explore around and see all the buttons. And pretty much every single piece of the entire hardware is labeled with these boards, like even pieces that you might not even think about or realize are there. So it's kind of fun to wander around. Some of them have little notes. Yeah. So here we see the mouse feet. So we saw in the direct and some of the segments so far that both of the Joy-Con 2 controllers can be used as a mouse. So they have the mouse feet there to kind of like glide along the surfaces. And then over here, this is where the mouse sensor is. So it says these sensors check the surface they're on to work out how they're moved. So that's where all that mouse technology is located.
There's a lot of new stuff to get acquainted with here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got the, let's hop over here to this, because this is the SL and the SR buttons right here. So those are kind of redesigned. They've got a different shape and feel to them compared to the Switch console.
But as Dutch was mentioned, like this feels very much like an expo, so it's really a great piece of an experience where you can really see, learn, explore more, especially for somebody that, a new piece of technology or hardware that you're not quite sure or really familiar about. This is a great interactive way for you to experience it, especially like some of these things that we're going to see a little bit later. You really want to have your own personal experience to really get an appreciation of what you're going to see and feel.
And part of that is that here we see one of the components is the quiz kiosks here. And that is really like a rare look kind of behind the curtain about how this system was built, how the hardware is built, and some of the design decisions that went into it.
Yeah.
So this is a good spot to learn about this. So this one's about the HD Rumble 2 function.
And for those of you at home, pay attention. There might be a pop quiz later.
All right, so again, we have a little diagram here, a little animation showing us these specific spots on the Joy-Con 2 controller and the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. And this is where the HD Rumble 2 components are located. So we get a little cutaway diagram here. You can see those orange rectangles there. And it tells us that these are custom built from the ground up. So this is not the same Rumble hardware that was in the Switch console. So they're in both controllers, and they had to go do like a full customization.
It's really interesting to see that diagram too, because where they are positioned specifically in the Joy-Con 2 as well as the Pro Controller 2, it's right in the palm of your hands.
That's right.
We'll talk a little bit more about that too.
And we see that we use magnets and electromagnets to shift a weight, and that's how the Rumble function is created. So this is an example of one of the older Rumble functions in older Nintendo controllers. So you have a little axis there with a weight spinning around on it. But here with the HD Rumble 2, it's not spinning, it's vibrating side to side at a high speed. So it's like a different system that they're using for the HD Rumble 2 function.
That linear motion.
Exactly. And it tells us it's the same kind of technology that you use to make trains levitate and allow them to move at high speeds. So moving it sideways makes it easier to rumble in various ways. And you can really feel that with the hardware. We'll get into that a little bit later. Let's see how that comes across. Let's go over here, see a little bit more. So it has a range of intensity. So it can be weak, like a gentle touch, or much stronger. And at the maximum strength, the sensation will be much stronger than the HD Rumble on Nintendo Switch. And I can attest to that, having these in my hands right now. At the peak, it is a lot more intense than on the Switch system.
It feels very satisfying.
It does. It does. But, it's not going to be at that full intensity the whole time you're playing a game. It's they'll save that maximum intensity for certain moments where it makes sense. All right, so it's weak or strong, and the maximum power won't be constant.
So you get that variation, which is going to be, very interesting, especially on how different experiences or games apply and use the HD Rumble 2 and how you can, get that experience.
And this part is telling us about where they're located. So you can see that orange rectangle down there at the bottom. And they've been designed to transmit the sensation directly, no matter how you're holding them. I think this is interesting. We get a little like blown out view of the different components of the controller. And they've located it in the spot, on that spot on the back, on that last piece on the right. And that's because that's the part that has the most contact with your hand while you're holding the system. So you can kind of see right down here.
Yeah, it's really thoughtfully designed where like the bulk of your hand contacts the controller. And these are those little design insights that you don't always get to see with Nintendo products.
Exactly.
Outside of something like an Ask the Developer article where you get a little bit more of the designer's thinking, there's a lot of that featured in Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make our way down here. We're going to go to this little cube over here, cube with a little 0, 1 on it. We're going to talk to this person. And they're going to tell us this is a tech demo. So this isn't really like a mini game per se, but we'll jump in here. This is going to be about that HD Rumble 2 function. So we're going to see what it's capable of and what it's like.
For those of you at home, what you'll see is what we're seeing, but Dutch here is actually able to feel the experience of the HD Rumble 2. So again, just to reinforce that, you really need to get hands-on to really get the full experience.
Yeah, we could try and communicate the feeling as best we can, but really this is something you got to get in your hand.
Yeah.
All right, so we see we've got our little checklist of things that we can do on the side or on the right side. And if we check off everything on that list, then we'll get a medal. That's the little silhouette there. And then we can use that to unlock other parts of the game. So let's hop in. So I've got my maracas here. Can kind of shake them around. And right now, obviously you're watching us, so you don't have them in your hands, but I'll try to describe it for you. So we've got kind of like a light, it feels like there's like tiny, like plasticky things inside. It's like kind of a dry feeling, I guess, if that makes sense.
You could actually feel the beads that we're seeing on screen.
Yeah, I can feel it. And then let's see. So we've got, we see on the bottom, we can change from beads to a rubber ball. So I'm going to change that on the left one. And like, you can feel it bounce around. And I know, I know it doesn't make sense to say this, but it feels heavier. Like, obviously pushing the button doesn't make the controller heavier, but like when I bounce it side to side, it feels like the bouncing is like stiffer and like maybe a little, it feels like bouncy.
Yeah.
It feels like it's made of rubber.
But I think, in the right Joy-Con there, you can feel that there are many individual objects in there,
yes,
all bouncing around, and you get a sense of the texture of that. Like you were saying, they feel kind of hard, right? Whereas in the left Joy-Con, you can feel that it's made of rubber. It's got a bounce to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's see, I'll change it back to this. And then so the last thing on our list is to change the appearance. And I'll change that one.
Like very festive here. Nice. Getting the rhythm of things. Yeah.
All right. So we got our medal. We finished everything on our checklist. So let's go ahead and hop out here. And let's go over here. Oh, okay, so we see, I can just open that back up again so we can take a look. We got this kid here who wants to tell us about his 10 medals. It's good
bragging,
for him. All right.
bragging rights there.
Thanks,
so
bud.
I'll open this up here. So we can see up at the top, we're in the tech demo section. So we did this one. We've got our medal for it here.
So right now you're exploring the left Joy-Con too.
Right.
Yeah, all of this is on the left Joy-Con too. Let's go around here and talk to this person who wants to tell us about the HD Rumble 2 function. So this is a mini game. So we just saw a tech demo before. This one is an actual mini game. And we're going to try to use the HD Rumble 2 function to find a single point on the screen. So let's see. So this one also uses the mouse control. So I'm just going to put the Joy-Con 2 controller flat down on the surface, and I'm going to click it to get started. All right, so we see the orange dot in the middle there. And my job here is to move this orange dot along a single line here And as I got close to the hidden point here, I'm going to start feeling the vibration in the controller. So I'm starting to get it. Over here on this side, I've got nothing. There's nothing over there. I'm going to move it this way. It's starting to get a little bit stronger. It's kind of like a pulsing, kind of like a dun, 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 dun. And as I get closer, the speed doesn't change. It's just the intensity of the rumble. So
you're trying to find the point where you feel the strongest rumble.
yeah. So I think it's starting to fade off on this side. It gets pretty strong right in here. And then it's starting to fade off a little bit on this side. I'm going to go right here.
Oh,
All right, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Not
okay.
bad.
62 is not bad. Not good enough for a medal, though. So I'm going to try it again.
Try again.
You could see those measurement markers on the top and bottom of the screen, and that gives you an indication of just how close and how precise you can get with this.
It's almost like trying to find the right radio signal.
Right.
And I should say, too, it's not like it's like a gradient. Like, I can't really distinguish, like, oh, yeah, this is level 1 vibration, this is level 2. It's, like, very gradual. And I'm feeling like right in here, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to say right here on this little intersection right here.
Ooh,
nice.
that was
That's
very
pretty good.
close hole. Nicely
All right, well,
done,
that'll get me-
Dutch.
I'll get me
Very
2 medals.
good. Very good.
All right, so let's go ahead and back out of here. So that's just one example of a mini game.
One thing I didn't think about until a lot later is that a lot of people are familiar with using a mouse on a computer, right? But you don't have rumble in your mouse on a computer.
That's
typically.
true, yeah.
So like then the sensation of using a mouse with rumble in it is very different than using just a traditional computer mouse.
Yeah, it kind of opens up a whole new like type of input that you can use when you're using mouse controls for a
Right.
game.
Yeah.
So we see here we've opened up another level of difficulty for this minigame, but we need 8 medals to access it. And we can see in the upper left-hand corner, we only have 3, so we can't go to that one right now. But
The experience definitely encourages you to keep exploring and then come back and see what's opened up.
yeah,
And you can see by the medal counts that there's a lot to explore here.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here's another minigame that focuses on the mouse controls. I'm going to hop in here, and this one is all about dodging the spiked balls. I'm going to take the left one off because this gets pretty intense here. All right, so let's start. This one starts off in survival mode. So I'm basically just trying to dodge the spiked balls for as long as I can. And again, mouse control, so I just set the Joy-Con 2 controller down on the table and hop in. So I've got my little spaceship here, and I'm just flying this spaceship around with my mouse controls, and I just got to stay out of the way. It's easy, right?
Well, let's see, Dutch. So the longer you survive, the more intense it seems to be getting. But also, they don't let you get too comfortable in any,
Oh,
All right.
they don't let you get
I'm
too
going
comfortable in any one place. If
Yeah.
you stay in the same place for too long, the spike balls will start hunting you down.
yeah, it's almost like they're magnetized towards you and they just want to end you.
That's how it feels, so I'm glad that you justified my feelings by pointing that out. So. Oh, okay. Oh, boy.
I believe in you,
Nice.
Dutch. You got this.
Whoa.
You've already beaten your previous time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. We got the
So the
green
goal-
now.
Now they're starting to
yeah.
the green ones.
So
Oh
the
my goodness.
longer
Why did I
that
go
you
right? Why did I go
survive, the
right?
more obstacles get added. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
challenge keeps
Get
going.
out of here. Get it. Ah. Whoa.
Nice work, nice work.
I mean, it is really responsive. So, like, you can kind of, you can get yourself out of some pretty sticky situations here. Whoa.
Serpentine. Serpentine.
All right. Oh,
Nice work.
oh the red ones.
yeah,
The red
now-
ones.
Oh, so now we got
now
the
we're
red.
on to
Oh, no. Oh, but you did it. You got
Hey,
all
all
3.
right.
Nicely
all right, we got 3
done.
medals. Whew, I'm sweating. All right. All right. Well, that's that's a little taste of it here. So then let's take a look. So we got those 3 medals. So now we have 5 medals total.
We've got 6.
Oh, 6? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. 6. All right.
Still
well, he
not
says
enough
he has
to get-
15. So, all right. Let's go.
He keeps hunting you down
know,
just
he's
to
following
brag
me.
how
It's
many
got-
medals he has.
Yeah. All right, so we have enough medals now to access the next level of difficulty here that unlocks with 2 medals. So it's the same concept. I'm going to be flying my little UFO around, but instead of just survival this time, the objective is to pick up as many stars as I can. So let's jump in here. So we can see over here, for 1 medal, we've gone for 20. For 2 medals, we got to get 40. So let's see what we can do.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I believe in you. You just got warmed up in the last round.
Yeah. You got to get these first ones, so that's the low-hanging fruit here. But then eventually, you got to kind of risk it a little bit to pick up some of these other ones.
Yeah, sometimes these stars will appear right on top of the spike ball, and it's pretty precise. You can get just into the corner of it and collect the star without hitting the spike ball.
But it's a little bit of strategy too, because sometimes it's just not worth it. Just go for whatever one.
Okay.
But the longer you stick around, the progressively more difficult it gets.
Oh, that got hard. Hey, we got both of them. Nice.
All right. Oh man, that's intense. Well, I could sit here playing this one all day, and I have before, but
yeah, they're like arcade experiences where you just want to keep playing and get a higher and higher score.
Yeah.
And for this one, you were using just one mouse.
Yeah.
But later, these mini games get progressively more difficult, and later they introduce using 2 at the same time, and that broke my brain when I had to do it for the first time. Because like you're used to using a computer mouse, right, with your dominant hand, but when you have to use 2 at the same time, there's something happens.
It's a test of eye-hand coordination at maximum.
And we did unlock another level of difficulty there, but we need 29 medals for that one. We're not even close. So let's go ahead and come over here, and we're going to make our way to Area B. And this person's going to check and make sure that we've got all our stamps. You get the stamps from finding the hidden signboards.
Right, and I should mention that we're coming into this segment with some pre-existing save data, where a lot of that stuff had already been collected. A lot of those stamps had already been collected. When you experience the game for yourself, you'll need to do all that on your own.
Correct.
Yeah. So but we're starting fresh here. So all the signboards are hidden. We got to go looking for them. So we can find maybe something down here. We can see the air intake on the lower left over here. Get my stamp here. There's a nice little satisfying vibration with that effect there.
Oh, this is fun.
Woo.
A nice little personal ice skating ring.
Let's make our way over to the other side here, because I do want to take a peek. Let's come over here. We'll take a look at the map. Ooh. So we'll open this up and you can get an overview. So on the map menu, on the left side, we've got all the stamps. So over here, we can see all the ones that are unlocked on the left Joy-Con 2 controller where we were.
And you can get a little bit of an idea of just how much there is to do here.
Right.
Yeah. The tech demos, this is the one we saw. We got a couple on this map that we can see in this area. The mini games that we saw with dodging the spike balls and everything. And then over here, these are the insights. So that's the signboards where we learned about the HD Rumble 2. And then this is the map of each area. So the left Joy-Con 2, and then this is the main console area right here.
Yeah, there's a huge checklist of items to go and explore, but also for those that are completionists like myself, I'm definitely going to go through, try to get all of those checked off.
So this is new for Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, the microphone.
Yeah, built-in microphone right here, and it has some like noise-canceling features here.
And so right now, we're just scratching the surface. We're just exploring on the top level, but at some point you'll also be able to explore inside as well, because you could see that elevator on the side.
And then one other nice feature of the hardware here is this USB port, the USB Type-C connector on the top of the system, so you can use that to charge the system when you're playing in tabletop mode, or to connect other accessories and stuff. So it's nice to have that second port on the top of the system. But now let's make our way over here to this tech demo. We're going to take another look. This is a fun one because we've talked about how this system is capable of outputting 4K resolution images. And this is a fun tech demo for kind of showing, like maybe thinking about what that means in a different way. It's like a novel way of showcasing what 4K is. Because you can look at like a beautiful high resolution image and it looks nice.
Yeah.
But what if you took something really familiar for a lot of us, like World 1-1 from the Super Mario Bros. Game for NES, and what if you mapped that entire level onto a 4K screen, pixel for pixel, like map the whole thing on? what would that look like?
I should mention we are streaming this in 4K, so if you can, please watch this on a 4K display. There are a lot of small details that you won't be able to appreciate without watching on a 4K display. And as this particular experience is specifically centers on the 4K output of Nintendo Switch 2, to enjoy this experience, you will need to have a 4K display in order to play this.
That being said, there's still a lot of experiences that you can play without a 4K.
Most all of the experiences, you can play without a 4K display. Okay, so here we are.
So tiny.
I honestly have trouble seeing this.
So the pixel resolution of the original NES system was 256 pixels wide on the display. So what would that look like if you mapped the original art that was drawn for Super Mario Brothers to a 4K display without scaling it? And 4K resolution is 3,840 pixels wide. So you can see as Dutch is progressing in the stage, it's the play field is widening there, and we can fit, the entirety of Super Mario Brothers World 1-1 on one screen.
I'm squinting right now to see it. It's so tiny.
It is both an impressive feat to see this entire level mapped out on the screen, but also impressive to see Dutch able to complete it.
Well, don't jinx me.
I'm trying not to.
It is
it's words of encouragement.
It is remarkably small, but this just goes to show how many pixels 4K represents.
Yeah, we've come a long way since the NES.
Yeah.
So you can see the entire level fits on a single screen at 4K. All right, so we got our checklist. We didn't finish all the things on our checklist, but that's okay. We didn't get our medal. I'm just gonna have to live with that.
That's for the folks at home to experience it once they get a chance to.
All right, so let's see what else do we want to take a look at here. Maybe
this is another fun experience here. That's a frame rate minigame.
Yeah, you can see
the ball changing its frame rate.
All right, but we have some homework to do, some assignments. So let's go ahead and make our way back to the quiz. Teresa did kind of half promise us a quiz at the end.
I want that quiz.
So we're going to come back here to our original quiz kiosk and talk to this person. And they're going to give us a quiz about the insights that we saw earlier about the HD Rumble 2 function. All right, question number 1. Which part of the console is shown in the image? So we saw earlier, it is not HD Rumble, it is HD Rumble 2.
That's right, because HD Rumble was part of the Nintendo Switch, but since we are talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, it is HD Rumble 2.
So how does the weight used for the HD Rumble 2 feature move? It spins around, it shakes from side to side, it shakes up and down, or it stretches and shrinks. We saw in the original, like the older hardware, it would spin around on kind of an axis.
Yeah, think about how the Rumble on like a Nintendo GameCube controller worked. That was more the spinning style.
But this one, we saw in this little animation here, it shakes from side to side on kind of like that coil, like a weight on a coil. Question the third. Which of the following is true of the strength of the HD Rumble feature? It's
like
always
these questions
strong.
Are royalty. The third.
It's always weak, or it can be either strong or weak.
Well, if you remember from the experience that you did earlier where you were kind of sweeping the frequency, it increased or decreased in intensity the closer or the further away you got from the point.
That's funny. It never occurred to me to do this with the mouse controls, but there you go. All right.
There you go.
But yeah, that will allow for variation in your experience.
Yeah.
All right, I can do mouse controls for this one too. All right, in the Joy-Con 2 controllers, what are the HD Rumble 2 parts attached to? The plastic on the front, number 1, the middle part, number 2, or the plastic on the back, or they're not attached to anything.
They're just hovering in space.
They're just hovering loose in there. Yeah, and we remember we saw this is number 3. It's kind of on this little
waffly area down there.
Waffle. I think that's the technical term. The
yes,
waffle
the waffle area.
And it's located there because that's the part that has the most contact with your hand where it's going to be held. So that's where you're going to feel it the most. So we're going to say 3, plastic on the back. Let's see how we did.
Hey,
we did it.
100%.
I kept you nice work there a little bit.
All right. And so just to recap really quick, we saw some insights here that are associated with the quiz. Those are spread all over the hardware. We saw a tech demo with the Maracas that highlighted the HD Rumble 2 feature. We saw some mini games to use the mouse controls and the HD rumble, and there's a lot more content all over the map. You know, we saw this this map here. We can see all the different spots that there are to explore. So there's a lot more that we didn't see, and you can kind of see the the completion percentage for each section. So we're just scratching the surface here.
Exactly, because again, like there's so much more to explore. There's so much more to just experience, and you'll even be able to get inside the console to learn even more. As Sam mentioned, it's like you get those dev insights in the palm of your hand, literally. So.
And you might think that you know everything there is to know about Nintendo Switch 2 because it looks so familiar to Nintendo Switch, but even things that existed on Nintendo Switch, like HD Rumble, have been redesigned for Nintendo Switch 2. So there's a lot of new stuff to learn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you again, guys, so much for walking us through. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in at home, getting a little bit of the experience of Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Next up is Drag and Drive. This segment has been recorded previously, but we're going to air it to you live. So just stay tuned.